Here.
And City Planner Armando Guanaco.
Okay, time for public comment. This is a period of time that anyone in the audience, the voluminous number out there, can speak for up to 3 minutes on any item, whether it's on the agenda or not on the agenda. Does anyone in the public like to speak? I'll close the public comment. Item number 4, approval of the agenda as written.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do the agenda approval of the minutes.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Any announcements and committee reports? Armando, anyone?
Provide an update on the next steps of the master plan amendments.
Are we supposed to be touching this to turn this on?
No, it's supposed to turn itself on theoretically.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tim Thompson, Senior Planner for the record. It's quite a different feel tonight than it was from your last meeting.
I say happy year.
At your last meeting, you made a decision or forward a recommendation onto the City Council for the Wingfield Springs Master Plan amendments and handbook amendments. Though that application has been submitted to Regional Planning. It does appear that we will be able to make that July 11th Regional Planning Commission meeting for conformance review, and then the project is slated to go before the City Council on August 13th, Monday, August 13th. And then, if my memory serves me correct, they will then follow up the tentative handbook approval process with the final handbook approval process into September. So it is likely that at your September meeting you will see the final handbook for the Wingfield Springs changes.
Okay. Any questions for Tim? Okay, thanks, Tim. Any other announcements or committee reports?
One other announcement. As you may recall, the Planning Commission denied a special use permit for Michael Boer a couple of meetings ago. Without the special use permit, the city has notified Mr. Boer that it cannot renew his business license. So he has appealed that decision to the city council, and not the special use permit denial, but rather the denial of the business license to the city council. So I believe at this point this is scheduled. That appeal is scheduled to be heard by the city council on the 9th of July.
When, Armando?
July 9th.
9th.
So what happens, Armando, if that coming before City Council is to get his business license, but it doesn't mean anything as far as the special?
Defer that question to Mr. Thornley.
Well, it's, kind of an interesting question. He's appealing the denial of the renewal of his business license, but he can't legally have a business license. So your guess is as good as ours as to exactly what will happen.
It doesn't mean anything, whatever their decision is, doesn't mean anything in terms of the special permit, special use permit, because that was a different item entirely.
In my opinion, it does not. He missed the time to appeal the denial of his special use permit. So it would be my position that the city council is without jurisdiction to do anything about it.
Okay.
And that the complete thought there is that a district court would also be without jurisdiction to do anything about it, or at least it's a non-justiciable controversy depending on how you want to look at it, because he failed to avail himself of the available administrative remedies, which would be the appeal to the city council.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
May I ask a question? And that's because he was a few days late when he got back to appeal our decision. Is that right?
Well, whatever the reasoning is,
Okay.
he did not appeal it in time. He did not file a notice of appeal with the clerk.
In the 30 days.
I think it's 21 days from the date of the decision.
Thank you. Any other announcements or reports?
No, that's it.
Any informational items?
I know, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 8, PCN 12016, Sparks Marina RV Park LLC.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. I'm Karen Melby, Senior Planner. Today, the request is for a tentative and final approval of amendment to the Marina Landing Plan Development Handbook. I've put up here an aerial photograph showing this is the Marina RV Park. This parcel, which remember we just amended it for the Maverick, and there's a car wash here, and then also this parcel is included in the Marina Landing Handbook. The applicant is requesting to amend the handbook. The amendment in the handbook that the applicant is requesting is to change the length of stay in the RV park from 25 days to 90 days. They also are requesting to increase the maximum height of the sign for the RV park from 8 feet to 20 feet. Based on statistics of the RV people coming in and using the park, the majority of the RV users to the park come from the McCarran Boulevard off-ramp, and therefore going eastbound on Lincoln Way. And the applicant has bigger photos, but these photos show where the sign is not visible when you're going eastbound on Lincoln Way, and that's why the applicant is requesting to increase the sign to 8 feet. The sign
To
is
20 feet.
20 feet, yeah. So you can see, the sign's right here and you can't see it. And so what's happening is that people coming to the RV park are missing the turn into the RV park. So they're requesting to increase the height. Based on the plan development findings, the amendment does not change the original intent of allowing an RV park as one of the land uses and must still comply with the other standards within the handbook, meeting PD findings 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, and 17. The RV park serves as a temporary form of housing which supports PD findings 1, 4, and 9. This amendment is different than the Sparks Municipal Code, which is 25 days for the maximum length of stay in an RV park, but it does not exceed the definition of an RV park in the NRS, or the Nevada Revised Statutes. Therefore, it meets PD finding 6. This amendment does not change the need for public services or the circulation or traffic in the area. The existing streets meeting PD findings 13 and 14. This amendment is not a project, but rather a proposed change of standards within a plan development. Therefore, it doesn't affect the master plan, and also therefore it meets, or it doesn't change any uses either. It's maintaining the existing use, which makes it PD findings 18 and 19. Public notice was given for tonight's public hearing addressing PD finding 20, and then also the proposed amendment governs the operations of the RV park and its signs, maintaining the integrity of the original adopted Marina Landing Handbook, making PD finding 21. Based on the NRS, the final approval draft of the Marina Landing PD can be processed concurrently with the tentative handbook amendment, since the proposed changes are minor, and then this maintains the integrity of the plan development handbook. Staff did receive an email, which I have forwarded to the Planning Commission, from Steve Caraway in opposition to this request. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Karen?
I have one, Karen. I'm not familiar with RV parks or anything, but if I pull my RV in there before we vote on this, it would be a maximum of, 25 days I could stay there?
That's correct.
Okay, now, if the 24th day or 23rd day, if I got my RV and left for a day, could I come back and stay another 25 days?
Yeah, the code says that I think you can't be more than 50 days within a certain time frame. The 90-day period.
A 90-day period?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So we would essentially be going 90 days in a 90-day period.
Yes, and then they can't be
As a-
there for 2 weeks or 15 days.
Can I answer? Now, I was interested, it looked like, okay, so NRS, you're looking at a definition that allows this length of time, but it sounded like the city code, city ordinance only allows 25 days. Is that correct?
Well, it actually allows 50 days, the way if you read the wording.
Right, after
Yeah.
the moving, you have to move within the area, 25 is what I read, but you can stay there. But is that right? We're now changing this based on the definition of NRS
Right.
rather than city.
We did research into the NRS, and the only that we could find in the NRS that had any length of stay, maximum length of stay reference was the definition for an RV park. There is no other, I mean, except for state parks. They do have you can't be more than 14 days in a state park. So, but that doesn't apply. This is not a state park. So that was the only other reference that I could find when I did research on this.
The person who objected, part of the reason that he objected was the kind of the idea that it would become a semi-permanent residence for people. What would be, if someone wanted to come there and make it a semi-permanent residence, would they be, what would the cost be compared to going across the alley to the one that is a permanent mobile home park? Do you have any idea what the difference in rates would be?
I have no idea.
Well, the difference
The applicant is here, and they
the
may
difference
know. I
between
don't
that
know.
and Parlanti is a mobile home park, and
Right.
this is a vacation RV park.
Yeah.
Those have even got permanent garages attached to some of them.
Right.
Totally different world it looked like to me, those two. And then maybe we ought to add.
And most of the time, I know in mobile home parks, they don't
Oh, yeah.
allow RVs. You have to have a mobile home and not an RV in a mobile home park generally.
All right.
And then, and I don't know if we should talk to the applicant, maybe, the other thing is about the signage. The signage, I see that we're pulling out that detail that actually showed the sign that was originally was to be put in that spot. And now we've just deleted that sign or that figure in the thing.
Yeah, they've eliminated the figure.
My question is, do we have any control over what the new sign will be, what it looks like, how many square feet it is? Are there other specifications that still control it by us pulling out that original?
Yes, it will have to comply with our sign ordinance.
It would be then the city sign
Yeah.
ordinance with the
The-
maximum, which would be what on that?
You mean the maximum size?
Yes.
I don't know. I'd have to do the calculations. It's based on the frontage of this property.
Okay, but essentially we go back to that because it's kind of interesting. Everything I've seen, obviously, I've only been here over a year, is on handbooks. Usually we actually look at an elevation. I don't know if the applicant maybe has something or it's going to be similar to the one they had before. And so those are probably questions I should ask the applicant.
Well, they also have some standards in there that they can't have an exposed pole and things like that, which are also in our code, but they do have that standard there also.
How would the height of, I know along Lincoln, that would be the tallest sign, obviously, but how would it compare with the signs as you go around the corner in Legends?
20 feet would be a lot shorter.
Yeah, a lot shorter.
Be a lot shorter than the signs in the legends. I think they're,
I think their tallest one's like 30, isn't it?
yeah, they're much taller than that, 30 or 35 feet, I'm guessing.
All right. Any other
Our
questions?
code also, the maximum height in our code, just for your information, is 30 feet. So they are proposing a height that is shorter than our code maximum height.
Thank you. Any other questions for Karen? Would the applicant like to come down and tell us what's going on?
Good evening. For the record, Mike Raley with Rubicon Design Group here on behalf of the RV Park. Bill Mankey, the owner and the operator of the RV Park, is also here tonight. I think we'll start with the sign. The sign itself is going to look very similar to what it is now, just higher. So all the standards will apply. It'll look, essentially, even though it's on a pole internally, it'll look like a tall monument sign when it's built. So it'll match very similar to what's there now. As you can see from that picture, if you punch into your GPS that you want to go to the RV park and you're headed eastbound on I-80, it directs you off at McCarran around past Western Village and through. And so most people drive by it before they can, then have to go back and navigate, with a trailer or a big RV through the roundabout by Target and back. So that's the primary reason for that. One thing that was addressed in the email that you received was that it would cause privacy impacts, and I think there might have been a little bit of confusion of where it's located. It'll be located in the same spot. And if you look at the aerial, the sign is here. As you see, that everything is further to the west, so they don't actually have a view to the sign from the mobile home park.
And you're talking about the email that we received?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. As far as the length of stay, that's really kind of reflecting current conditions. As you know, gas prices have gone through the roof, and they're finding that people come on a vacation and stay longer, so they do less driving around once they get here. The other thing is the park gets what they call snowbirds, the people that come down from the colder climates in the winter to Reno's Mediterranean climate, with extended stay. And then the other thing, interestingly enough, is with the boom in towns like Winnemucca and Elko, where people are working in the mines for 2 weeks, off for 2 weeks, and the housing shortage out there, you get some workers that have RVs will come in and stay in the RV park and then go out, do their time at the mine, then come back and stay for 2 weeks and that sort of thing. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's occupied the entire time they're there. We did include standards in our proposed amendment that said you can't have any permanent structures such as decks and clotheslines and that sort of thing, because this is really the premier RV resort in town, and they want to maintain that character, and definitely no intention to have permanent residence whatsoever. So with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Mr. Chairman, Mike, will that sign be lit?
Yeah, it'll be internally lit, just, Marina RV Park, but no breeder boards or anything like that.
That's all I have. Yes.
And Mike, Mr. Caraway was talking about, and I can understand that he's worried about, people staying too long and they're going to bring in the bad element, or however he put that. But it's still up to the park. If I'm in there for 3 or 2 months and I'm making too much noise and making a mess, I'm
They're
just
going to boot
kicked
you
out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, the park has very stringent standards as far as even the condition of RVs that go in there. They have the ability to turn away business.
Because it is, again, the premier.
Exactly. And if you drive through there, most of the RVs are on the very high end.
Right.
So.
And is there somebody there, a manager on
There's
site?
an on-site
Yes.
residence that actually, above the clubhouse, there's an apartment.
So if there are any problems, then
There's somebody there 24
to
hours a
kick them
day.
out,
Yeah,
or call the police, or
absolutely.
whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, and I know that was a security concern. From a security perspective, I think the RV park actually enhances security because you have that activity, where if it was just the wall there, there's nothing to stop somebody from sneaking over the wall in theory.
Right.
So.
Any other questions? Mike?
Maybe I do have one more. We don't have that many RV parks here in Sparks.
There's 2 in Sparks. There's the River's Edge, which is down off Rock Boulevard, which does have a lot of permanent things, whether they were grandfathered in or I know they have license from the state, so it's a little bit different.
Right.
And then the Victorian RV Park, which is actually half mobile home park, half RV park.
And that's what I thought too. So
Yeah.
their restrictions are different.
They are a little different just in terms of being grandfathered in, and then the way they're actually zoned and licensed is different than what we are.
So that's an interesting point. So this is the only one that's actually being held to this shorter length of time at this time in Sparks? Do we know?
I don't know that I can answer that question.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if we can answer that question.
That question, okay.
Because they are different.
Yeah.
They are different types of parks.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I drove through it, and it's beautiful.
Uh-huh.
What you've
It
done.
is.
I mean, it's very nice.
Any other questions? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing item. Any member of the public would like to come and speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the Planning Commission. Anyone have any additional questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, you ready for a motion?
I am.
I move to approve a recommendation to City Council to approve the tentative and final plan development handbook for the Marina Landing, PCN 12016, adopting findings PD1 through PD21, and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report.
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 9, a general business item, PCN 11007, Bladow. Is that the way that's pronounced? Properties? Bladow. Close enough.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Tim Thompson, Senior Planner for the record. This is a request to grant a one-year extension to a special use permit that the Planning Commission approved last July 21st. The special use permit was to allow for a drive-through restaurant within the TOD mixed-use commercial designation over on Audi Boulevard and Mall Drive in front of the former Lowe's location. The applicant has been working very diligently over the past year to secure the financing necessary to construct this, and they're asking for a one-year extension to continue that. And so staff is here to recommend that you go ahead and grant that one-year extension, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Tim?
Yeah, where does this doesn't go through city council or anything? This is just extension and.
Correct.
And it's an approval one.
Right. The way that the code reads and the condition reads is that the extension be granted by the body who approved the permit.
Oh, okay.
And in this case, this was a standalone special use permit that did come to the Planning Commission. It was not appealed to the City Council, so therefore you would take the final action on the granting of this extension as well.
Does that require a motion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
are you prepared for a motion?
I am.
I move to grant a maximum one-year extension of special use permit PCN 11007.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 10 under general business, public comment. Our only public left.
So that's what she was here for. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Seeing no public comment. Item number 11, comments from the commissioners. Any comments from any commissioner? If not, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Bye.
We're gone. Thank you.
What was that time?
Good meeting.